The question I'm asking is, when people vote leave on the 23rd of June, what are they actually voting for, in or out of the single market? And as we don't have an answer to that question, if we do vote leave, where does that leave Parliament after the 23rd? Because the debate will be, what sort of deal do we do with the EU, with the remaining 27 member states? But there won't be a clear mandate. If the Leave campaign had said from the beginning, right, we want to stay in the single market, but we want out of the EU, okay, that would be clear. Or if they'd said from the beginning, right, we want out, we want the Canada model.
But why raise this now? Why raise this now? Because it suggests that you want to tamper with the result if it doesn't go the way you want. You're leaving that possibility. You will try to dilute the will of the people.
Not at all. The reason I'm raising it is to draw attention.
Because you're worried.
No, to draw attention to the fact that the Leave campaign is actually presenting a non-choice to the British people, because it's Leave. But underneath Leave, there are so many different questions, and none of those have been answered.
One of the accusations against the Leave side is that you consistently fail to articulate what the British economy would look like after Brexit. Last December, we got a flash of real honesty from Nigel Farage at the Oxford Union when he said that I will accept that none of us knows what the risks are if we leave the European Union. Marvellous. The most momentous decision that the British are being required to take in 40 years, and you don't know what the risks are. So it's sort of, fly with me and we'll see what happens, isn't it?
Yes, but
that's it, isn't it?
The whole point is that if we...
You don't think the country is worth more than that?
The whole point is if we put the X in the box, in the right box on the ballot paper, we then have 2 years of hopefully a responsible government, hopefully a responsible team that will negotiate an exit package which is 101%
hopefully is a big
positive.
Word. Do you buy into the idea that the EU is some kind of rotting corpse that we need to get away from in Britain, that British people need to get away from?
Well, you've used the phrase rotting corpse. I wouldn't use it that. I would say it's a concept...
I think it came from one of your erstwhile MEPs.
Well, maybe, but you direct the question at me.
Sure.
I'm responded by saying I wouldn't describe the EU as a rotting corpse, personally. I would describe it as an organisation that's run out of steam compared to its original concept, one that does need radical reform, which it's not able to invest in and make the necessary changes to make it accountable, make it value for money, and make it stand up on the global platform. On that basis, for me, it's a failure, yes.
It's a failure, but it contains 8 of the 20 most competitive economies in the world. That's not a hallmark of failure, is it?
Well, it is when you compare France and Italy, which are effectively economic basket cases, and Greece as well. One
of the reasons that European citizens are stepping away from the European project is that we're interfering in too many domains of their private lives. Hardly a ringing endorsement of his own European Union, is it?
Look, nobody is saying that the EU is perfect.
This is a long way from perfect. This is unreformable, isn't it?
I think you could probably apply that critique to a lot of national governments.
But it's unreformable.
I would certainly apply it to our British government now, which I think is doing an appallingly bad job of running the country. The democracies all over the world are facing major challenges. But my question is...
You're on the same side as this girl. You're campaigning on the same side, and yet you're so divided. The campaigns are so divided. How do you expect to unify the country if you can't even unify your campaigns? I don't know how you expect to unify the Brexit side, the side that wants to get out of the European Union, when you're so divided amongst yourselves. You seem to be fighting almost like ferrets in a sack. We have this vitriol from one of exit campaign to another exit campaign. Nigel Farage on May the 20th spoke of the cretins in charge of Vote Leave and accused them of bad-mouthing him. Aaron Banks of Leave U said of the other Brexit team, I wouldn't put them in charge of the local sweet shop. How do you expect to unify a British public to your point of view when you're so disunited yourselves?
Well, we're not disunited.
Well, of course you are. You're hardly in agreement, are you?
We're not disunited. I'm this evening speaking at yet another debate, just like all of my MEP colleagues, just like lots of UKIP activists, councillors and such.
I didn't make these quotes up, you know. Did I, Diane James? I didn't make them up.
Whilst we have our differences politically, we are united in the view that Britain is stronger in Europe.
But you're not even united with leader of the Labour Party, Jeremy Corbyn, are you? I mean, you've criticised him. You actually contributed nothing to party unity by stabbing Corbyn in the front and publicly questioning his ability to lead the party, didn't you?
When did I do that?
You said this in March in Huffington Post. You said the big question is when people look at him, do they see somebody who could be the next Prime Minister of the United Kingdom? Hardly a ringing endorsement. At the same time as you've been touting Angela Eagle, a member of the Shadow Cabinet, calling her a great leader.
Look,
by questioning his credentials in public, you're stabbing him in the front, aren't you?
I think that the question that I asked is a question that should be asked of any leader.